Coming to you live from the Skyhammer Studios. Get us on Facebook and YouTube. This is the El Donzo and Deez Show.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I'm El Donzo.
Ooh, I'm
yeah,
Deez.
Oh, that's a throwback right there now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we're
I have to
mixing up
correct you.
Yeah. You don't have to. We don't have to beep that. I almost went to go beep out Bill O'Reilly. I'm like, F it. We don't have to. Fuck it.
One of us is live from the Skyhammer Studios. The other one is live from the whatever the fuck, wherever I'm at.
Well,
studio.
yeah, that doesn't really. Yeah, that doesn't really come. And even though we can drop an occasional F-bomb, we're going to watch it, folks. We're not going to go ape nuts with this, but yeah, that's kind of different. And this is a little bit different too. We were going to be on the radio this week, cities, but the holiday schedule, and we have to pre-record that, just was not getting it. So we decided to go ahead and do a little trial run here, kind of a new system we got set up, and I think it's working pretty good. A little bit different of a layout and a little bit different of a format, but yeah, I think it seems to be going pretty good. Deez, how was your week?
Not too bad. Like I said, got that big job going down in Champaign, so been pretty busy with that. Although, kind of sucks to have to start it on a short week like that. So we'll hit it hard this week. Probably wrap it up hopefully by the end of next week, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, full disclosure, this is kind of a trial run as far as what we're doing. But as we get into it, it will be much more refined and structured, so to speak. But yeah, uncensored, unfiltered. I'll probably drop more F-bombs than him just because that's the way I talk in my normal day. But I'll try and sort of radio it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So we're going to be doing this in addition to the radio show. But we figured this week, since we were out and they were doing a replay on cities, just for the logistical reasons of it, we figured we'd go ahead and do this and give something to the listeners a little bit if they want to tune in and get something going. Go ahead and pipe in. I think they can go ahead and comment. Is that correct, Deez?
Oh, yep. Right through our Facebook page or our YouTube page. And I would ask anyone that watches this on Facebook, we prefer you watch it on YouTube for the analytics and everything. Or at the very least, go to our YouTube page and subscribe to it. That is youtube.com/eldonzodeez, as you can see down there scrolling across the bottom. Either way, however you watch and or listen, if you eventually hear this on Spotify or whatever, we appreciate you. But yeah, YouTube is our preferred method of getting this out there, but we'll make do with what we got.
Something as well. We'll be moving to Rumble, is something we've been discussing and trying to get on there, because YouTube is, I don't know, YouTube is the preferred means, I guess, to track this stuff. But we also need to get on Rumble. We get a little bit more freedom on Rumble. I think.
We'll get them going on both, but for sure.
So it's going to be work in progress. Anyway, so it was Thanksgiving week. And like I said, that kind of affected why we're doing this. I'm not going to beat that dead horse about it. But there is some stuff in the news that, well, first of all, let's do this. This Kamala Harris. Did you see this tweet of her and what's that idiot, Doug Emhoff?
Yep, I was going to add it, and I saw you already had it.
Oh, yeah, not letting this one go, not one bit. So she tweeted out, "From our family to yours, happy Thanksgiving." Yeah, whatever. She's rolling in dough. She doesn't give a shit about any of us. But in the background is, what is that, Deez? What's that look like to you?
Well, by my accounts, that looks like a gas stove.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, isn't that funny? The same administration that's trying to get rid of gas stoves is, it's okay for them to have them, but we can't have them, these measly peasants we are. Now, I saw a lot of things in here. They've been talking about this. Joe Biden's been talking about this for a while, because it's they got to go green. They got to go electric. Even though the electric grid cannot handle it, they have to go electric. And this is what China wants as well, is for us to go electric and cripple ourselves. But I saw something that was really interesting. I can't pull it up, but it was a fact check. No, Joe Biden doesn't want to get rid of gas stoves. Yeah, they've said it. He just invoked the Defense Production Act. so they could do electric heat pumps, so they could have your furnaces go electric. Have you ever known anybody with an electric furnace, Deez?
Not that I can really
Okay,
recall.
I have. They're a pain in the ass. Okay,
Very
they're a
expensive
pain.
too, if I'm not
They're
mistaken.
very expensive, and they're very expensive to run. Um,
That's what I meant. Yeah, as far as your monthly bill or whatever.
I got to tell you a story, and it's not going to be a long-winded one, but it's the truth. When I used to work in safety, well, I didn't just do safety, but I was responsible for safety in the shop I worked at. If we were going to take pictures of the shop and share them with other facilities, if there was an incident, an accident, what we would do is we would go through before we sent any picture out, okay? And we would make sure everything, there wasn't a broom leaning up against the wall because that was a safety thing. People would pick you apart. We'd make sure that, the guy in the background had his hard hat on, okay? We'd go through that picture before we sent it out. Holding the second highest office in the United States of America, one would think that she would probably, gloss over her pictures a little bit before she went ahead and put something like this out there. Now, most people will go, well, I don't know why she didn't catch it. She should. I don't think she cares. I really don't. She's such a snooty bitch. I just don't think she cares. I think she knew it. And I think she was sending a message. We can do whatever we want to do.
I don't think she's that
I do.
coherent enough to realize.
I didn't say she was smart. Okay? I didn't say she was smart. But that wouldn't surprise me if she did that. Something else, since we're on the Thanksgiving topic here, did you see this thing PETA sent out about all these turkeys gathered around a feast of a human?
I didn't see the actual picture, but I did see people talking about it on X.
I did. I got the picture pulled up right now. It's a bunch of turkeys sitting around, bowing their heads, praying before they eat a human being who's done up to kind of look like a turkey, but you can tell they slaughtered the human. Yeah, Elon Musk got on there and kind of whipped him. And the caption was, "We're lucky turkeys would never do this to us. You don't have to do it to them either." Well, X fact checked him on that and said turkeys are not vegetarians. Turkeys eat mice, lizards, frogs, and just about anything they can fit in their mouth. If turkeys were larger or had the technological means to farm and eat humans, their current diet reveals they likely would. So
Wow.
it's what? What do you got there?
I found the picture. I can actually, for those that haven't seen it, I can pull it up for us
Look, and I get
right here.
I'm for the ethical treatment of animals. I had to slaughter a couple turkeys last week and some ducks. There it is. And I did it ethically. I mean, I don't want to see animals be harmed, but this is just, PETA's got to get their damn hands in everything. What? Look at that, Deez.
That's yeah.
That's PETA's making a pretty big stretch there, folks. If you're watching, you can see this right now. I'm sure most of the listeners or anybody tuning in has probably already seen this, but it was just, part of the Thanksgiving news that was going on. Now, something else I want to get into is Joe Biden and his poll numbers. Have you been keeping up on this, Deez?
No, like I said before, I won't really pay attention to the polls until like late summer.
Well, and like we've hashed this out on the show before, and I usually agree with you, but there's reason to pay attention to these polls. Something big is coming, and we talk about this all the time. What's Joe Biden going to do? What do you think? You've told me before. I can't remember. What do you think he's going to do?
Well, I think eventually he's going to pull out for one reason or another.
Okay, I don't think he's going to pull out. Now, here's this thing, and I can't wrap my mind around this. DeSantis and Newsom, if they haven't already, I guess we're going to have a debate. Did you see that?
I know that they were talking about it. I haven't seen anything in concrete as far as.
First of all, why in the hell who's going to tune into that? Now, that really added a lot of fuel to the fire. Excuse me. Fighting off a bit of a cold. That really added a lot of fuel to the fire that Newsom was going to step in and take over the spot for Joe. And I know there's a lot of people that think that. But I got news for you. I don't think that's going to happen. Joe Biden either has to step down, okay, willingly, or they have to do the 25th on his ass, which they haven't started to do yet.
Which is very possible that it happens, though. I mean, and now I saw Manchin is basically said he's not running for Congress. I don't think he's made an official presidential announcement run, but all signs point to that that's what he's going to do.
Here's the thing. According to these polls, just came out Wednesday, were the latest polls. Emerson, general election, Trump versus Biden. Trump 47, Biden 43. Then they did the five-way between Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West, and Stein. And Trump was leading by 6 points. You got the Messenger Harris X poll. Same thing, general election, Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West, Trump up 6. When you have all these polls showing you the same thing, that's damning right there. I'm telling you, I'm starting to actually have some faith in these polls, folks. I really am. Now, something else that got me, and I pulled this up. They said New York, Trump versus Biden. Of course, who's leading in New York? It's going to be Biden, right?
Mm.
Biden's only leading by 10 points right now in New York in his latest Siena poll. All right, this is a state that in 2020 I believe was 62 to 30%. He's
As far
only
as
up
Trump,
10.
Trump trailing,
Yeah.
Well, the
Now,
story I read about Manchin was that if he does in fact run, that he will actually pull more votes from Biden than what Kennedy is going to do. They say Kennedy will kind of pull from everybody, and it won't really make that big a difference. But Manchin running will pull more Democrats than what Kennedy is going to pull.
I cannot see. So here's the thing with Kennedy. Kennedy claims to be a Second Amendment guy, and he's not. He's not. Okay, that's all bull sticks.
Bullshit.
But
You can say it on
bullshit,
here.
Yeah, whatever. Bullshit. I don't care. You're in the habit of doing it. I'll keep it as clean as possible. Okay, he's not a Second Amendment guy, but he is anti-vax, which is turning a lot of Democrats off to him. That's why I don't think Kennedy's going to come in and be this dead ringer to take it away from Trump. I just don't buy it. He's too far to the left. I mean, he's a moderate almost by the standards of what we see in the left on the news nowadays, but he's really not. He's nowhere near it. So I don't think him, Cornel West, Manchin, throw them all in there. Get Newsom in there. It's only going to hurt Joe Biden. People are tired of this. You know, I made this point before. The reason Trump is so high in the polls right now is between the indictments and the mugshot, people are starting to wake up and seeing what the deep state's actually doing here. Okay, this is becoming very obvious. They're almost not even lying about it at this point. Okay, but they also know that for 4 years their paycheck was fatter, the economy was good. All right, we had more rights, we lived better, gasoline was cheaper, everything was good. We were a net exporter of fuel. And now we're not. Now we're kneecapped. Now we're going back and kissing Venezuela's ass, trying to get, cheap, nasty oil from them. Meanwhile, getting rid of our strategic oil reserves. And then China's building theirs up. And now we're striking deals with China to where we're both going to go green, which we know China's not going to do that. There's no chance they're going to do that. They're crippling us. And we give them a win almost every day on a silver platter that Joe Biden stumbles up to the podium and says something stupid, something batshit crazy, and we all scratch our heads and go, how the hell is this guy? Really? He stumbles, he falls off the stage. He does remind me of Leslie Nielsen from the Scary Movies as a president, and we talked about that last week. Like how lucky we would be just to have him instead of Joe Biden. Now,
yes,
the reason,
even the dead version of Leslie Nielsen.
Even the dead version of Leslie Nielsen. Now, the reason that I don't think Joe Biden's going to step down is we talk about and we've in our circles, all right, conservatives, we all say China owns our asses. China owns the politicians. China's been doing this long game, as we've talked about for decades. Okay, all the division we see in this country, we can directly correlate that to what China is wanting us to do as a country, how they want us to be on the world stage, the division. This has all been China and some with Russia, okay? They've been trying to tear apart Western civilization, and they're doing it. Now, if we go back to 2020, we all agree that there were some hokey bullshit went on in 2020, right, Deez?
It's
And more of
kind of
that's
hard to
coming
argue.
out right now. There's stuff in Georgia. I don't know if we'll have time to get to it. And I say I don't know if we'll have time to get to it because it's hard to decipher. But there's definitely, it was all over the place. It was rampant. But trying to get it laid out and get it proper, my point is, if they did it in 2020, they can do it again. All right? Now, I'm sure they don't want to. I'm sure they'd rather get his poll numbers up because the more you have to rig and the more you have to stuff ballots, the higher your chances are at getting caught. But if we really believe what we say is that China owns Joe Biden and that Joe Biden was put in to benefit China, and China owns all these other politicians. You know, I appreciate Gavin Newsom doing what he's doing, but Gavin Newsom isn't at the top tier. He's not at the top. I'm telling you, there's a reason that the Democrats, the higher-up liberals, are not panicking right now over Joe Biden's poll numbers. Because if they were panicking, they'd be doing something about it. They would stop him from going out. They would, I know they got his exposure is minimized. I understand that. But they would be doing more. They would be more in a panic mode. David Axelrod coming out and flip-flopping about this, how Joe Biden needs to stand down. I don't think they know what the higher-ups know. I think that to get rid of Joe Biden and put somebody like Gavin Newsom in there would mean China would have to start all over with him. I don't think China's going to let it happen. I really don't. All the blackmail they got.
I think
got a
China already
question for
has
you.
started with him.
Who, with Gavin Newsom?
Yeah. Seems like they've
No,
been
no.
kissy here.
Yeah, well, who?
Gavin Newsom and China.
Yeah, you said kissy.
Yeah, those two, China and Gavin Newsom. Seems like Gavin Newsom's
No.
already
Not for the
bending the
decades
knee.
they've been working on Biden. Not for the decades
I
they've been
got you,
working
yeah.
on Biden. All right, they've got a lot of time, not just in Joe Biden, but in his circle and in his family as well. Now, I got a question for you. How much shit do you think the Bidens got on everybody? After all these decades in office, okay, how much shit do you think Hunter Biden actually knows? How much dirt do you think they know that China has on other people?
Oh, yeah.
This is something
I'm sure
people aren't thinking about. So when somebody goes, well, I can't understand why they're just not getting Joe Biden out of there, there's a freaking reason for it. So no, I won't be surprised one bit if Joe Biden stays in. But even then, as we've talked about before, they just don't have a 2024 election. I don't see Joe Biden getting out of there. It's too good for the Chinese. It's too good for the Chinese. As much as he's flip-flopping around and making us look like assholes, it's really just too good for them. I don't see them allowing it to happen.
That's very possible. I mean, you know, he did take the polar plunge, and everybody made a big deal about, oh, well, this guy's obviously in good health if he can, you know, swim in Nantucket and near freezing temperatures. He's good to go.
Do you really believe it? I don't even know if I
No.
even believe he did it. I've never even actually heard it, to be honest with you. That's the first time I've heard he took a polar plunge.
Yeah, it just happened yesterday or
No,
Thanksgiving.
I missed
There
it.
were pictures. Yeah, there were pictures. I think on Twitter.
Have you seen?
X,
We
whatever
talk
you wanna
about
call it.
AI all the time. Have you seen what AI can do? I don't believe any of this shit. I really don't. I don't.
True.
I don't. I told my mom. I said if I turn on the TV tomorrow and lobsters are crawling out of Joe Biden's ears, I wouldn't be surprised. It would not surprise me. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of strange, but yeah, you know, par for the course. The stuff they can do with AI, I don't know. And I hate the fact that I look at something that we're in that stage right now where we're just constantly being lied to. Now, the conspiracy theories, how do you fault a population of people for coming up with a conspiracy theory and thinking everything is BS when all we're being told is lies? Okay, you just pulled it up.
Yeah, that's the polar plunge.
I just have a hard time believing they dumped him into icy cold water at his age and his frailty.
Yeah.
I
Those
have a hard
pictures were
time
probably
believing
taken in July.
Well, he's in short sleeve shirt in one of them. I'm just telling you, I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. But I'm glad you brought
Yeah,
that up because
it
I completely
might be
missed
BS.
that. I completely missed that in the news cycle. Now, something else I just saw this on Fox today. I was reading it before the show. And you got to forgive me a little bit. the format we usually do on the radio is we do 12-minute section, 12-minute section, 11, and then an 8-minute section for the hour. So what we do is we lay out all the stories we're going to talk about in that section. Then when we go to commercial break, we pull up the next story. So we're just reformatting, and we're going to be doing it for when we go live a little bit different. So I got it pulled up as it would have been, but he came out and he said that the reason Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th was because of the inroads he was making with Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel. Now, do I think that there may have been some motivation with Hamas or from Hezbollah and Iran to do this, to soften that support? Absolutely. But here's what Joe Biden is not telling everybody. He's not the one that is pushing recognition of Israel. The Biden-Obama administration did jack shit for Israel. Okay, this was Trump. Trump did this in September of 2020 with the Abraham Accords. Trump kicked this off. Joe Biden's got nothing to do with this, even if that's the case, that they did that to kneecap him. They didn't do that to kneecap Joe Biden. Joe Biden's already kneecapped. They can do anything they want. They wouldn't have done this if Trump was in office. Trump put the Abraham Accords together in September of 2020. He had Bahrain on there, which Bahrain just pulled their ambassador to Israel, and Israel pulled their ambassador to Bahrain. This has really soured Bahrain's support for Israel. You had Morocco, you had Sudan, you had Oman. All these people signing up on the Abraham Accords, and Saudi Arabia was like, it's been going on for years. So for this idiot to come out there and say, well, they did that because of all the inroads I was making with Saudi Arabia. He's not making inroads with anybody. We're the laughing stock. So, yeah, people forget this stuff. This was absolutely it. If any inroads have been made, they were made in the Trump administration towards the end of it. The Abraham Accords were historic for what was going on. We had it nailed down. This is another reason they needed Joe Biden in there. They have to have discourse. They have to have civil unrest, and that's what they're getting right now. I was just reading another story. It was Queens, New York. They had a pro-Israel teacher. She was barricaded in her, I think it was in a closet or in a classroom or something. And these radicalized little morons that are we got Jewish people that are pro-Hamas, saying from the river to the sea. This is a level of brainwash we have never seen before. I don't understand this. McKenzie just got on there. Well, he's been on there for a few minutes. Newsom is a moron, and Biden has the highest poll numbers ever. Come on, man. That's right, Kenzie. Well, that's what they want to think, but they can do whatever they want with the poll numbers. So I don't know. I don't know how much like I said, this whole thing with him trying to take credit for any inroads made with Saudi Arabia is bull sticks. Now, on another front, looks like Mayor Eric Adams has finally pissed up the wrong tree when it comes to the deep state, because have you seen this one yet?
Are you talking about the sexual assault thing, or?
Yeah, going back to 93. It's Associated Press. New York City Mayor Eric Adams accused of 1993 sexual assault in this late legal filing. The 3-page file does not contain details of the alleged assault, but names Adams, the Transit Bureau of the New York Police Department, and the New York Police Department Guardians Association as defendants. It says plaintiff was sexually assaulted by defendant Eric Adams in New York in 1993 while they both worked for the city of New York. She's seeking $5 million in damages. It was filed in the state Supreme Court in Manhattan, and the woman's attorney did not immediately return an emailed request for any comments on this. Of course she didn't. But why is this coming up right now?
Well, they just had the investigation or whatever about the campaign funds. So that's been kind of dominating the New York news lately. It almost makes me wonder if that didn't trigger somebody to like, oh, he's a hot topic in the news. Let me come out with this story that happened 30 years ago.
Well, he's been the hot topic in the news for a long time. You got to remember, while he was coming up, he was kissing Obama and Biden's ass pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, this migrant thing cooks up, and he starts criticizing the old Biden. I just call him the old Biden administration. I don't know. That's another one we got to talk about at some point. But he starts criticizing them coming out swinging at Biden, and now he's got this sexual assault thing from '93. I think it's convenient. I think it's really convenient. Did the same thing with Cuomo too. He's back in the news. Yep. Former executive assistant files lawsuit claiming he sexually harassed her, retaliated when she rejected him. I don't know. Cuomo, dude. I think his goose is cooked. And so
there must be something in the air right now, because we've got all these old allegations coming up with Eric Adams, then now Cuomo, and then of course P. Diddy is facing allegations from stuff that he may or may not have done in the last 20 years.
This is why kids, I say kids, this is why the parents right now, if anybody's watching this, when you're raising your kids, okay, you really need to bat this home to them. Cover your ass. Don't put yourself in these situations. You never know one day how prominent you may be. You may be leading your kids may be leading a company. They may be a politician. And if you looked at a woman wrong when you were a kid, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Okay? This is, I don't know. I'm not saying this is made up allegations. I don't know. Let it play out in a court of law. I say it with Eric Adams as I would with anybody else. The man's innocent until they prove him guilty in a court of law. So he needs to go on not doing his job. I was going to say doing his job, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of stock in Eric Adams. The fact that he comes out and at least says they have a crisis in New York City, but then, he talks to Biden and he flip-flops. But it's just like anything else. You got to cover your ass. It's, and all these, what's really funny about this too, is these liberals that come out and say, believe all women. And then a couple years later, these women came out and said they touched them inappropriately, or it's like that one, that chick, what was her name? It escapes me, that accused Biden of penetrating her against the wall back when he was a congressman.
Oh God, I can't remember.
I cannot remember.
That's how good they did of sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, and I feel bad about that I cannot remember her name. But that's how you go. You get to talking about things, you get to read news stories, and you just pop and you just keep going. But anyway, yeah, it comes and bites everybody on the ass eventually. So
Tara Reid,
that was it. Tara Reid, and that got swept right under the rug. Should we believe Tara Reid? I don't know. I mean, she didn't get her day in court like Joe Biden. This didn't go anywhere. I guess that's what happens when, you're in that position. So, Ukraine. This is another one. There's a lot of talk right now, and I said this from the get-go, that Ukraine needs to negotiate a deal with Russia. And I got cut down pretty good for that. These people need to defend their home. These people need to defend. And I agree. I get that. I would feel the same way myself if somebody was coming into my country. But the fact of the matter is, I said this from the get-go, Ukraine cannot do this. If Russia really wants Ukraine, they're going to take it. And then we have, detractors of that say, well, look at it. It's almost 2 years and Russia hasn't. No, you know why? Because we have depleted our military to send all this shit over to Ukraine and all this money over to Ukraine. That's why Ukraine has not completely fallen yet. And now it's getting to the point to where NATO and America are going, well, hold up, dude, we can't keep doing this. I believe it 100%. Now Zelensky comes out and says, oh no, we're not close to negotiations. Yeah, they are. There's no way that NATO and America can keep pumping money into this. And there's so many fractures right now. Now, here's my point to this. They'd have been a hell of a lot better off. Joe Biden and Boris Johnson, okay, wanted this war. There was many times in the beginning of this could have been averted, or there could have been, you could have ceded some land to Putin. Now, I know that's given up, but sometimes you don't have a choice. And remember, if it wasn't for Joe Biden being in office, this wouldn't even happened. This would not have happened. All right? So, Now what they're doing? Did you see the? I saw a couple. Tucker Carlson was talking about this, and I saw it too. Video of the soldiers in Ukraine. They're older than we are.
Oh, I
They're
believe it.
running out of people, and you can tell they're just worn down. They're beat. They're literally running out of people. So what are we going to do? We're going to send we're going to get our boots on the ground over there. Point is, they'd have been a lot better off in the beginning of this thing to negotiate than negotiate now while they're almost depleted. They just handed a win to Vladimir Putin. That's what's going to happen because he's got more people, he's got more military armaments, he's got more resources than Ukraine does because Ukraine's starting to wear their resources out. So I don't
I
know.
almost wonder though why he hasn't really gone in with full force. Putin, that is, as opposed to these, little skirmishes here and there. And to be fair, I don't follow it probably as closely as you do or whatever. But I mean, we know that Russia has far more military personnel than Ukraine. I guess
Absolutely.
I'm just curious as to why. I mean, if he wanted it, why did he doesn't just full on blitz their ass unless he's afraid that it will lead to us getting
I,
actually involved or
I think there's a lot of things to that. The more forcefully they go in there, the more they risk dropping a ball. And also, why would they put their full force into going into Ukraine? Now, when they initially went in, I'm sorry, Ukraine didn't stand a chance without us. They did not stand a chance without us.
no.
I can see the tactic of we'll just keep wearing them down slowly and slowly and slowly. I don't think they're going to put all their cards into Ukraine. I just don't think they are. And it's paying off. If this was a strategy by Russia and Vladimir Putin, it's paying off right now. Now, it's long game, but we said it from the beginning. It's a war of attrition. But it's not just a war of attrition against Ukraine. It's a war of attrition against us. Look what's going on in Israel right now. Everything that's going on in this world can be tied back to benefit for China. Everything, Deez. Everything from pulling out of Afghanistan to this bullshit going on in the Middle East right now to this war in Ukraine. It's all
Yeah.
benefiting China.
Ryan makes a good point there that Israel could basically do the same thing to Gaza as far
And
as
they're
just
not.
going
But
going in and wiping them.
well, here's the thing too. If Israel goes, look how bad Israel is right now. They're not, in my opinion, but look how badly they're being cut down in the media and around these countries, and they're losing support. If they go in scorched earth into Gaza, that could, well, I wouldn't spell the
It's
end
a
for
bad
them.
it's a bad look, yeah.
It's a really bad look. Maybe that's why Putin didn't go in full force into Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm just
The
saying
Putin
they.
thing, if you want to get conspiracy theory wise, Putin thing could be China going, "Hey, you just keep throwing rocks at them for a while and
We've
keep
said that.
keep the
We've said
world
that before.
distracted."
I
Yeah.
got a question. If China owns us, they own Russia. This is all coordinated. All right, this is all coordinated. And McKinsey's right. Israel could do the same thing to Gaza. I don't think Israel wants to do that to Gaza. I think they want to get rid of Hamas and make sure Hamas and Hezbollah does not Iran rears their ugly head over there. What did McKinsey just say? It needs to happen. Trump was crazy enough to these monsters that they didn't know what he would have done had they gone in when he was president. And I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But they need to eradicate Hamas at any cost. And, you see it all these killing children in Palestine. No, we've said it before. It's Hamas is killing them. Hamas is using their own as human shields. So, sorry, it's casualty of war. They're putting these people out there to be killed. They're making martyrs out of them, which only incites all this. I just cannot get over this anti-Semitism, dude. This has been going on for years. These seeds have been planted. You can't tell me that these kids in universities on October 8th just became anti-Semites. You can't. This has been going on, and this has been bred in academia for decades.
Eh, I
Oh,
don't know,
yeah.
man. Well, to your point, I can see some of that, but I also can see the side of oh, well, this is what is going on social media, and I see that so and so and so and so that I follow are saying it. So yes, death to Israel. You know what I mean? People are on social media are so influenced by those that they follow or whatever that they will just blindly get behind anything uh, that is trending
There's some
to
of
the
those,
people
but
that they
ra-
idolize.
radicalization does not take place overnight. This is years in the making. When you got people sharing and quoting Osama bin Laden's letter to America, okay, this didn't happen overnight. We, as a society, have dropped the ball on this and allowed this insane bullshit to fester. Just like this things with this. He just piped up, Ryan. It's trans liberation. All right, that's a bad term for it. He's making a joke about something else in Palestinian liberation. But this whole trans issue has been cooking for decades. It has been.
Yeah.
Of course, started with the Black Lives Matter stuff. This has been going on they've been pushing this. This has been China and Russia, the Green Initiative, the trans shit, the Black Lives Matter.
Right, but what I'm saying is this youth, the millennials or Gen Zers or whatever, they aren't educated in this shit. All they're doing is they're seeing what's on social media and they're jumping on the bandwagon. You could
Okay,
pull
I got
any
you. Yeah,
one of those idiots
and
off of TikTok and ask them about Osama bin Laden and that letter and everything, and they're not going to have a fucking clue. They just see it trending. So they're like, oh, yeah, death to
well,
America, death to
you got to
Israel, blah, blah, blah. They don't
you
know
drive
what's going on.
you drive a really good point, Deez, because we've said that before too.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is propaganda. If you look
Oh,
at TikTok,
for
look at all
sure.
these idiots on TikTok, all this stupid shit on TikTok. And the proof is in the pudding. When you go look at China's version of TikTok, it's all wholesome wholesome stuff, and men are men and women are women. And then you get on our TikTok and it's all chicks with dicks, and chop it. You telling these kids
I
that
don't
they're
know what you're
transgender.
searching on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, to be
I don't
completely
either, but
honest.
I mean,
I
I've
know,
seen the
but
videos. Transgender story hour, or what is that? Drag queen story hour. That's what it
drag queen
was.
story hour. Yeah,
You
I
know, they
did see an
really.
interesting post on Twitter today, in fact, about how since Elon Musk took over, and you don't see like you used to. It used to just be bombarded, especially with like Marvel. Anytime a Marvel show or movie would come out, all of the Disney/Marvel accounts would be tweeting, whatever trailer or whatever, and they don't do it anymore. They've completely pulled out of posting on X, and people were kind of like, it's kind of nice. You don't see CBS News. There are a ton of those propaganda machines that no longer post on there, and it's been quite pleasant.
Do you know how fucked we are as a country? I'm just gonna tell you. This is part
We've
of it.
been
Okay.
saying that for weeks.
This is part of it. Listen to this. Kathy Griffin, okay,
Oh
has
God.
PTSD over Donald Trump. Has post traumatic stress. This is what people that get their asses shot off overseas get. Okay, and she get PTSD. So you know how she copes with it? Meowing like a cat and mooing like a cow.
It should be PTTSD, post traumatic
PT
Trump
syndrome disorder.
or post Trump
She so
traumatic, whatever.
so she I guess she does this yoga thing, and her yoga instructor told her that when she's going down, she meows like a cat, and when she arches back up, she moos like a cow. She was actually telling people this. Now, this is the kind of shit that she just keeps to herself. But that's how bad we are, that we have to meow like cats to get over shit. Meanwhile, China's over there, on this massive masculinity campaign for their guys, and we're over here trying to cut their dicks off. But this is nuts, dude. So anyway, getting into that part of the show, we'd normally be getting into, I think, segment 5 right now, wouldn't we?
If things were going smooth, yeah.
Now let's talk about this Rainbow Bridge explosion from Niagara Falls and Niagara Falls. Did you see the video of this? They said that Bentley was going like 100 miles an hour. Now, when this first came out,
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty. I don't know how to other than piss poor reporting or speculation or whatever. I was actually getting ready. I believe wasn't that on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah.
I believe it was. Yeah, I was actually getting ready to go to my brother's house for our little family deal, and that was on Fox News, and they were all over the screen. You know, terrorist attack at the border at Niagara Falls. You know, potential terrorist activity. Blah blah blah. And it turns out it was just a couple that were high on, I think, either mushrooms or LSD or something, and they were trying to get to a Kiss concert.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
And
it was
that's
one of the
like,
ones that was canceled, wasn't it, or something like that? Because
I don't,
well,
yeah.
they were they're in it to win it if they wanted to crash their car because they crashed that son of a bitch really good.
I
Did you see the
wonder,
video of it?
yeah, yeah. How ironic would it be if they were sitting there rocking out to Detroit Rock City? Because if you
Going,
recall, the studio version of Detroit Rock City
yeah,
is
it was a car
Paul's,
crash.
yeah, Paul's driving and he ends up crashing, and yeah, the next thing you know, this Bentley goes Dukes of Hazard and into a friggin' ball of flames.
Well, they initially said that it was explosives, that it was likely a terrorist attack because the debris field couldn't be that big without explosives. Now they're coming out and saying, yeah, if they had the right amount of gas in that tank, there's absolutely, and we watched it explode. So I don't know. It was part of that Thanksgiving news rush. You know, same thing with the turkeys eating a human and Camel Toe Harris and her. Well, that
Gas
woman, I hate
stove.
that woman. You know who's not in the news? You know, I got to look up since we're kind of freeforming this. I got to see if Greta's in the news.
Oh Christ! And that's gonna wrap it up for this week, folks.
How dare
I
you,
did want to
Deez?
say, remember, and maybe you've caught this by now. Remember the story I talked about with Snoop?
Oh yeah, yeah. Snoop Dogg was going to quit smoke. Yeah, that was all bull
He
sticks,
he
wasn't it?
he got us. He got everybody. In fact, there were rappers that shortly after he posted that basically went with him in solidarity, going, you know what? I'm done with smoke too. I'm gonna stand with Snoop. I'm giving up weed. And then 4 days later, here comes the fucking commercial for a smokeless fire pit. Like, wow, he got everybody.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
hats off to him, man.
you know what's actually sad about the Snoop Dogg deal is our world is literally on fire. And I get it; it's interesting. It's Snoop Dogg, the pop culture thing. I get it.
Uh,
But more people probably knew about Snoop Dogg saying he was going to quit smoking weed than they did know what's going on in Israel right now.
Oh, I'd say I wouldn't put a probably in front of that. I guarantee you more
Yes,
people knew
preaching to the
about
choir.
Snoop than they did about what's going on, whether it be Gaza or Ukraine, just
I guarantee you,
because of the pop culture.
if we did a man on the street thing, and we went up to somebody and said, "What did Snoop Dogg say he was going to give up?" They would say, "Smoke." And we said, "Who is the vice president of the United States?" They would have a blank on their face.
Oh, for sure. There's no question there. 1,000%. The people like that's again, social media. That is the downfall of society is everybody wants to know what their favorite stars, singers, whatever. Just like with Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift, more people know about that than they know about what's actually happening in the world. You
Yeah,
know
and they
that.
get and most of that shit is through social media.
Mm-hmm.
That they've got these
Absolutely.
algorithms. They've got AI doing this now for them. Hey, did you? What about this? How about this one? Derek Chauvin. Have you read up on that?
I did, and I learned something else when I read that story because I see we both put it in the show notes. I didn't realize that he had an appeal at the Supreme Court, and
Yes.
they shot it down, which
Yeah.
kind of surprised me.
Surprises me too. But now he's getting stabbed. It damn near killed him. So let's go
Yeah,
ahead and read through this. Of course, he's the former Minneapolis police officer. He pled guilty in the 2020 death of George Floyd. I think it was just a couple days ago. Bureau of Prisons confirmed that incarcerated person was assaulted on FCI Tucson at around 12:30 p.m. local time Friday. This was yesterday. In a statement, the agency said responding employees contained the incident and performed life-saving measures before the inmate, who did they did not name at the time, was taken to a hospital for further treatment and evaluation. And then they confirmed Chauvin, 47, was sent to FCI Tucson for maximum security Minnesota State Prison in August 2022. And then they tie it back into he was the one that got stabbed. So this guy's doing, I think it's 22 years in prison. He comes out and he's appealing this. Now you got the Hennepin County thing. Amy Sweezy, who is now saying that, like we covered in the previous week's shows, that the autopsy, and which is funny, the autopsy didn't have any damage or asphyxiation or anything like that, which is actually funny that that gets back in the news, because I remember initially, like the day after, they were saying the autopsy report didn't show that Chauvin contributed to his death at all. And then all of a sudden it comes out. And there was kind of leaks here and there, but now he's trying to get this appeal to the Supreme Court. He's going to use this. Of course he's going to use it. If they actually went there, and we talked about the doctor last week that comes out and says, hey, I've looked at this. This is not what killed George Floyd. And now all of a sudden you have Derek Chauvin getting stabbed in prison. What would happen if Derek Chauvin appealed this and he was let out? What would happen?
The exact same thing that happened in 2020.
I think it'd be even worse.
Probably will. I guess my question is, since the Supreme Court ruled on this, according to the story last week, when was this appeal brought up, and what was included in it? Was this just an appeal based off of what they knew, or did this appeal include this new information?
As far as I know, this appeal included the new information. The fact that they would shoot it down is stunning to me.
That's what I'm saying.
But
I'd like to give them a benefit of the doubt and say that this was not, for whatever reason, in this part of the appeal, and that maybe they still have that, for lack of a better description, they have one more bullet in the gun to try and bring it back up. Because I can't see how. I mean, that is pretty damning information as far as
it needs to be looked at. I wasn't confident about Derek Chauvin's day in court, which I say everybody needs their day in court. I didn't like the way Derek Chauvin got his day in court. I didn't like the way the other officers that were just doing what they were told to do. Okay, also got one or two of them got second-degree murder or something and manslaughter, and their lives are ruined. You just ruined the lives of 5 people over some shitbag that had to put himself in a bad situation. All right. Now, the fact that Derek Chauvin, we don't even know if he's going to survive from this. Okay. The fact that he gets knifed, this is not a conspiracy theory when I'm about to say this, but in prison, don't you think they would be keeping Derek Chauvin segregated?
I mean, that would be the smart thing to do.
Why would they have him in general population? Was he?
No, I 100% agree.
Was he segregated? And then all of a sudden they said, "No, let's just put him back into Gen Pop." That's a really easy way to get somebody executed. I don't believe
it's one of those. I want to know what, like the guy that stabbed him. Who is he? Is he white? Is he black? Who does he have any kind of inside or outside connections with?
You know what? Here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they have to have somebody with a connection. I don't think they have to have somebody paid off in this particular situation. There are so many African Americans just in that race that want to kill Derek Chauvin. All they got to do is let Derek Chauvin go into Gen Pop and somebody's going to shank him. Okay? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, but have they said that it was a black guy that stabbed him?
No, they haven't. It could have been a white guy. It could have been.
That's what I'm saying.
Derek Chauvin. But when you
before I make that kind of, I want to know who stabbed him.
Yeah, this is just a theory, though. But it's only a matter of time before somebody like Derek Chauvin, if they're not protected, if they're not segregated, is going to get whacked. It is. Sorry.
For sure.
Jeffrey Dahmer. And I don't tie it to, look at Dahmer. And I don't tie this to Jeffrey Epstein, but look what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason I say I don't tie it, I guess I am, but I'm not, because I think Jeffrey Epstein was assassinated. I think that was when you look at the cameras went down and all this other shit. I think that was plotted. I think the higher ups did it. I think the elite did it. I absolutely do 100%. We still don't know who was on the damn planes and who went to flew on the Lolita Express. They haven't released those logs yet, have they, Deez? We don't know
Yeah,
who was on this damn island.
actually, Amiri King posted 73 pages of flight logs. Now, granted, most of them were initials and things like that, but it doesn't take fucking James Bond to figure out who a lot of those people are.
Well, we can speculate, but here's the
Yeah.
thing: they have more detailed records than that we don't know about.
Oh,
People
definitely,
know
definitely.
who the hell went down to Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island, and
Mhm.
so anyway, we're gonna go back into the pedophile island thing, but I think they assassinated Jeffrey Epstein, and I think it could be a possibility they assassinated Derek Chauvin. But they didn't do it by sending somebody in and shutting off cameras. They just let nature take its course, which is what I think happened with Derek Chauvin. I think they just allowed nature to take its course. They know naturally somebody's going to off him. That's what I think.
No,
But this,
I would have no problem believing that.
when these pedophile rings first came up, these cabals of Satan worshiping pedophiles, and I'm like, the Comet Ping Pong Pizza Parlor, this, I don't believe that shit. The Comet Ping Pong Pizza Parlor thing that came out years ago about Hillary Clinton was
Pizzagate?
running the, yeah.
There's some stuff coming out on Twitter that's alluding to the fact that that might have actually been real.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, give me the
I've
info.
seen a lot of it the last couple weeks. They still haven't like released the smoking gun, but there's been some talk on Twitter/X that it was probably more real than people are letting on to. That the only reason I haven't brought it up is because again there is no ironclad evidence, but
Well,
it's being
here's the
talked
thing.
about again for a reason.
You can never know what to believe, but at this point, nothing surprises me. And with
Right.
all this pedophilia shit coming out right now, and what we know that other countries have been using to blackmail these politicians, it's like every other day somebody's getting popped with child pornography. Maybe this is, maybe this is worse than we want to think it is. I'm starting to believe it now that this pedophilia thing is probably as rampant as most people say it is. I mean, when you got all these politicians and all these people politicians know getting popped for this shit. So McKenzie I don't even know why we don't have McKenzie on the show right now.
Right?
he's,
Yeah,
he's
he's
giving
kind
us
of
info. He says it was a white guy named,
Jorge.
that stabbed him.
Is that
Stabbed
true, or
Derek
is that
Chauvin.
is that
I
a
don't
biracial joke?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. So until we get
Uh,
confirmation, if McKenzie's still listening, he can send that
no,
to us.
a
Or if
white guy named Jorge Jackson. Is that?
I don't know. Hey, it's 2023. The world's on fire. Nothing surprises me.
Oh, it's
And
racist.
okay, that was a joke. Good thing we're not on the air today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you had some stories lined up there, did you not, Deez?
I did. Here's one that kind of concerns me. A secret phone surveillance program is spying on millions of Americans, and the headline caught my attention. Like, what's going on here? And basically, what it alludes to, and this is coming from Fox News, is that let me turn that off.
I just sent Mackenzie a link. I don't know if you can get on it or not, if you have to send it.
You can't send it through there.
I can't?
No.
This is why you're the brains of the operation. I just do all the killing. What?
You basically just sent a link that literally anybody could fucking jump in here.
Well, we don't have to let him on.
True, I guess. Anyway, yeah, that's something that needs to be done privately and through email. Anyway, imagine every time you make a phone call, someone is listening and recording your conversations. They can also track who you're talking to, when, where, and for how long. And it doesn't stop there. They also monitor the calls of the people you talk to, the people they talk to, and so on and so on. And apparently this is a reality for millions of Americans who use AT&T.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I don't use AT&T, but I don't think
I
it
do.
matters because of AT. Well, I guess you're switching, aren't you?
Uh, this actually might lead me to do that very thing. According to a letter obtained by Wired, a little known surveillance program called Data Analytical Services, DAS, has been secretly collecting and analyzing more than 1 trillion domestic phone records within the U.S. each year. The program, which was formerly known as Hemisphere, is run by the telecom giant AT&T in coordination with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Program uses a technique known as chain analysis, which targets not only those in direct phone contact with a criminal suspect, but anyone with whom those individuals have been in contact with as well. This means
Wow.
that innocent people who have no connection to any crime can have their phone records swept up and scrutinized by the authorities. Program allows law enforcement agencies to access the records of any calls that use AT&T's infrastructure, which covers a large portion of the country. The records include phone numbers, dates, times, durations, and locations of the call, as well as the names and addresses of the subscribers.
That's why you don't. You know what? My uncle used to tell me when I was a kid, don't ever say anything on the phone. Don't ever
Yeah.
say anything on the phone.
The program contradicts the spirit of the USA Freedom Act, which was passed in 2015 to reform the bulk collection of phone records by the NSA. The act required the NSA to stop collecting phone records in bulk, instead request them from phone companies on a case-by-case basis with a court order. However, the DAS program bypasses this requirement by allowing AT&T to collect and store the records for law enforcement purposes.
Boy, if I was, you know what? I would say if I was AT&T, I'd switch. But I'd make damn sure that whoever I switched to wasn't doing that. If there was any possible means of confirming or did, you know what I mean?
Well, see,
'Cause
and
if
that's the thing
AT&T's
is, even you're on Verizon, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So let's just say I was involved in some kind of criminal activity that enabled them to record my phone calls because I'm talking to you on the phone. We are, one of us anyway, is using AT&T towers, whatnot. So that means they're recording you talking to me.
probably.
And then could subsequently, anytime like you get on a list, anytime that somebody within the AT&T network talks to El Donzo, they can do it. Oh, looky
Well,
here. See, this is the kind of shit that you start when you just go posting links.
you,
Welcome, Ryan McKenzie,
Hey,
the Ryan Mack Show. What's going on,
what's
buddy?
up? Oh, if I'd be any better, I'd be at a Renaissance concert tour with Britney Spears with Joe Biden.
wow. Well, what
I'm
about
just
Taylor
saying.
Swift? What about
That's-
Taylor Swift?
Yeah, she's not on there. Apparently, it's just the Eras tour. It's the Renaissance tour now.
So,
Wow.
Mackenzie, what's been going on?
A whole lot of eating for Thanksgiving. So
Yeah,
there's
gained
that.
some weight. Have to loosen
Little
up
bit.
yourself a little bit.
Well, yeah, I put my fat pants on.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Did you borrow
Yeah.
those from Deez?
I sure did.
Hey, fuck you.
Nice, right? Audio sounds good.
Yeah,
Ryan?
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, do you have any more insight, or is it just racist, xenophobic jokes about Derek Chauvin?
Oh, I don't have any insight. It's pure racist. I mean,
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was okay.
I mean, it
Like
could
I
have been
said.
anybody at this point. Anytime it's like pedophiles in prison. Anytime they're harming kids or women, they're likely to get killed in prison. So it's no different. Somebody pissed him off the wrong way. Could have been related to George Floyd or not. He could, that's what it is.
But do you agree with my assertion that putting somebody like Derek Chauvin in general population,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much guarantees they're going to get
Yeah,
whacked?
there's no way he should be in general population.
No, that was my whole point to it. That was my whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you been keeping up on the news this week then?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think about the shit cooking off over in Israel and this 4-day ceasefire they had?
I mean, they kind of planned it to get the aid through, but I don't really think it's going to last much longer than a couple days. It's just
Well-
a temporary pause. It's not like what the left, they finally won and got the ceasefire. It's just a pause to let aid through and then just kind of regroup.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know what's going to happen with Hamas. We know what Hamas is going to do while
Yeah.
this is going on. Okay,
Yeah.
they're going to regroup. They're going to do whatever they have to do to embed even further. And I can guarantee you right now, that's what Netanyahu's going to have Israel do. They're going to restock. They're going to regroup. They're going to get their proverbial shit together so they can go back in and hopefully stomp a mud hole in their asses.
Well, that's what the ceasefire is. It's just a chance for Hamas to regroup. That's why you don't want that. That you kill
Yes.
1,400 people in Israel and you call for a ceasefire suddenly. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, it's just there's tactics to it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we haven't seen one in Ukraine yet.
Yeah, you
And
won't.
well, and I don't think Vladimir Putin gives a shit anyway. I mean,
No.
he doesn't need to do it. He can just keep throwing bodies at it
Yeah.
because they've got the bodies. When they
Yeah.
even if it's true, if they say, for example, it's they're losing 20 Russians to one Ukrainian soldier. Even if that's true, which I don't believe it is. So what? Russia
Yeah.
can afford to do that.
Yeah, he don't care.
Yeah,
He doesn't care
Ukraine's
about. He doesn't
running
care
out of
about his
people.
own people. Yeah, he doesn't care. It's Kamala Harris. What she said. It's a larger country invading a smaller country. That's what it is.
Yeah,
They don't
pretty
care.
much, exactly. So anyway, yeah, just a lot of stuff going on this week, and you
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on and whatever else
Yeah, absolutely.
you got. Like I said, we're doing this. Kind of had to retweak how we were doing our go live stuff, and I
Yeah.
think we got a pretty good idea. A
I like
pretty
it.
good layout how we're going to do it now. So yeah,
Yeah, I probably
Yeah,
won't be
as we
live
move
this week.
forward.
But yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, if you ask Deez, I'm an audiophile, so
Big
Yeah.
time.
everything.
Yeah, if it
big
doesn't
time.
sound good, he doesn't want anything to do with it. So we got to
No,
make
I'll
sure
snap a
that
cog.
first and
So-
foremost.
We seem to sound good right
Yeah.
now, so which is good enough for me. But
Yeah.
like I said, so the Ryan Mack show, is that back up? I know you took a hiatus on that. For
Yeah,
a
it
while.
is. Yeah, it's back up.
Yep,
It's-
I thought
I
it
got
was.
into
I thought
the
it's-
yeah. So I got into the StreamYard thing too. Kevin showed me a little bit how to run it, and it's not really perfected yet, but it's not going to be. But it's actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and it's actually really user friendly. So I got I think 3 live streams out on YouTube and Facebook. I
You
haven't
did
figured
send
out.
me a link. You
Yeah, I
sent me a
haven't
link to
figured
one of
out
them.
Rumble yet because it's so weird how they backlog their videos. Like it's weird how they go live with Rumble, but I'm working on it. So,
Yeah, work on it. Let me know because I want to get into the Rumble thing too, and I don't want to get off YouTube, but I think we can have more freedom on Rumble if we get that figured out. So
Yeah.
plug the show. When's your show on?
It's usually on the weekends, get an hour or so. I haven't narrowed down to an exact day to kind of keep it more consistent because for interviews and guests, I kind of keep it open on the weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays it rolls out. Sundays I've been having it come out about 6 right after Kev's show on air. So it's kind
Which
of not
speaks
interrupt
us with
those
Kev
guys.
Ferris.
Yeah. So and then I just kind of bring it live after that. So yeah, mostly Sundays, but I've had a couple Saturdays in there.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're back on.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have to take a break from stuff every now
Yeah,
and again.
I switched up job and got a lot easier to schedule, so a little bit easier to kind of get back in the flow of content, grabbing, and yeah, it's
Cool,
good stuff.
Cool. Good deal. Deez, what do we have any stories left on your end?
I do have one more that I think we need to talk about because it is literally earth shattering. With everything going on in the world, all the war and everything, this news is devastating. Daryl Hall is suing John Oates, and I can't go for that.
Oh, humanity.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you're a big Hall & Oates fan, aren't you, Deez?
I can't go for that. I don't know if they're hiring private eyes or there's things on the list, but it's devastating. Apparently, they're fighting over who was the creative force behind the duo, and now they're suing
shit.
because, come on, Hall & Oates,
How many years later they're just now fighting about who was really behind
right?
it?
They're in their 70s. I laughed that this was in
Running
the
out of
news.
money.
They were just on tour together last year.
Yeah, well, apparently it didn't end well because now they don't want to allow each other to perform their hits when they're on tour without each other.
Wouldn't it be nice, guys, to have that much money? To
Yeah.
where that's all you had to
Just
worry
throw
about.
away. Yeah.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
somebody, to your writing partner, using the songs you wrote together. That keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
While they're on a solo tour, that's what you have to worry about. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about anything else. You're gonna go to file a lawsuit over that, and they're in their 70s.
Yeah, it's
Who
like
gives a
McDuck
shit?
diving into his gold coins in the vault. That's what's nice to have that kind of pile of money standing around.
It
Throw
must
it
be. It's
away. Just
pile
wipe
of
your
money
ass
I'm
on
Paul
it.
never
is
gonna see.
77 and Oates is 75. I say just fucking put him in a cage. Last man standing wins
Cage
the
match?
lawsuit. Yes.
Cage match?
Trial by combat.
Yeah.
That's the way lawsuits should be handled. Trial by combat. If it's one person versus one person, fight to the death. Whoever wins, wins.
But can that other person nominate somebody else to fight their fights for him, like in Game of Thrones?
Well, there's got to be some rules that worked out, but sure. Then we could see some interesting shit.
Yeah. I can go for
Damn
celebrity death
Hall
match
and
again.
Oates. Son of a bitch.
Right?
Yeah,
I know-
that just ruined my weekend.
I know, right? McKenzie's not going to know what to do now.
If
Like a
Hall and
child.
Oates can't make it, who can?
Backstreet
Well,
Boys.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
more worried about getting Ace Frehley back up on stage with Kiss, to be honest with you, but that's never going to happen. What do you think?
No.
Since we're getting
Did
into the
not-
pop culture thing right now at the tail end of the show.
Not a chance. They've done that numerous times, and it always ends the exact same way with Gene and Ace. They are oil and water. They just don't go together. At the very here, what I could possibly see happening is whenever it is, probably never, but when they finally say, "This is it. This is our 100% no take backsies last show ever." And I think they've actually talked about it, and it's supposed to be in Madison Square Garden in New York.
That's
That,
what they're threatening.
yeah, that I could see a one-time deal, them bringing Ace and Peter on stage for
Right.
an encore or something like that. Other than
Right,
that,
and
as far as
Yeah.
I don't ever see Ace Frehley getting back with Kiss.
no,
I could hopefully, I think it'd be cool to see him get on stage for a couple songs. Whether
yeah,
he'd do that or not, I don't know. I think he's come out and said
Is there
that-
just that much animosity between the two?
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's
I mean
pretty-
they've tried it time and time again, and it always ends the same way, with
Yeah.
them fighting and them, F you, I'm done with you, blah blah blah, and then a few years down the road, and, we're okay, we can't work together, but so I could see them maybe working something out for that New York show, but
Yeah, well,
that'll be
let's-
it. It'll be
Let's see if this is the was it the 5th time they've announced it that this
Yeah.
is they're not going to tour after this. Motley Crue really pissed me off when Motley Crue did that. Oh, we signed a contract. We're not touring anymore. And everybody went out and bought Motley Crue tickets to see that fat shitbag Vince Neil not sing for. Everybody went out and bought tickets. Last time we went to see Motley Crue. A couple years later, yep, tore up the contract. We don't want to hear it anyway. Now they kicked Mick Mars out of the band, which I'm sorry, that was Mick Mars's band to begin with. Motley Crue was. So you got the
he's
same
the only one
animosity.
that's still competent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Vince Neil can't sing. Tommy Lee, I don't know. I don't even think he's playing half his drums. Have
I
you
mean,
seen
he's a
that?
drummer. It doesn't count.
Shut up. Just
Oh, burn. Burn.
Jeez, stop. And then what's his nuts? Nikki Sixx is not playing his bass lines. I have video of that. He's not playing bass. It's all pre-tracked.
Most of
So
it's
he-
tracked.
We got that. And then here's the other one too. And I think they've solved it. But I was really hoping, because I'm a big Deep Purple fan. Okay? And Deep Purple's on their last leg as well. And their guitarist, what's his name? Steve Morse had to unfortunately retire from the band because his wife has cancer. I think it's terminal.
You know, you have
So-
presidential term limits. Why don't you have term limits for tours? Like that, enough. When you're in your 80s and 90s, you can barely hold your nutsack up. I mean, enough is enough.
Yeah,
You had great hits while it lasted.
I agree. They just hold on to
Just
Ian
stop.
Gillan. Yeah, I agree. Ian Gillan from Deep Purple can't sing anymore, but he's not near as bad as Vince Neil is. He's nowhere in that realm. But what I was really hoping, because I'm a big Deep Purple fan, was after Steve Morse left, and they swore they'd never be on stage with Blackmore again. I was just kind of hoping maybe Blackmore and Deep Purple could pull it together and get a couple shows with Richie effing Blackmore right up there with Deep Purple, but I don't think that's going to happen. But these bands are getting old now. I mean, these guys are freaking old, dude. The fact they're still doing it, you got to commend them for that. But at some point, they got to get off the stage. And Deez, you're the biggest Kiss fan I know. I'm a Kiss fan. What do you think about the performance of Kiss in the past couple of years?
It's definitely gone downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul for a very, very long time has his pipes were just pristine, but you could see basically since the start of this farewell tour started, which I believe was back in 2019, you could see that he don't have what he used to have anymore, which is part of the reason why I haven't gone to any of these farewell shows. But I will say this, as far as a live performance, and I've seen a lot of concerts in my time. If you want to be entertained, maybe not so much now for the simple fact that the quality has gone down, but even in their 50s, there's no better live show than a Kiss show when they're,
I've never
all
s-
hit.
I've never seen Kiss live, and I always kicked myself in the ass for that. Excuse me. I never saw him live.
Mm.
But on the other hand, I don't want to go see him live now. It just, I don't know. To me, it just wouldn't be.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah,
It's
it's
close.
the best concert I ever saw, 1995. It was the third show of the first actual reunion tour. Third show, so they were still friends at this point.
There was not enough shows right there to get everybody hating each other at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in St. Louis, and we Alice in Chains, pre Lane Staley death, so he was still there, was their opener. And man, you want to talk about a fucking show.
Mm.
Alice in
That
Chains
was
is one of my
incredible.
favorite bands.
Oh
They
yeah.
really
For
are.
my
And that
money,
surprises a lot of people.
Alice in Chains was the best band of that whole grunge movement.
Yeah, I
Nirvana
agree.
be damned.
Yeah, Nirvana. I can't stand these Nirvana freaks. I hate Nirvana.
No.
I mean, I do. Sorry, Mackenzie, if you like. Do you like
No.
Nirvana?
No,
Okay,
I don't
hate
listen to
Nirvana.
them. No. No.
And Kurt Cobain,
Yeah.
dude,
What a
if he didn't
scumbag.
commit suicide, he'd be a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
People say Kurt Cobain was a musical genius and he was a visionary. He wasn't. You're trying to prop him up with John Lennon? Get the hell out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
couldn't
good
even
one.
play guitar or sing, really.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm going to catch hell from that somebody, but I'm just telling you, I was never a big fan of Nirvana. The best concert I ever saw was in 2016 at Download Festival. I saw a lot of good bands. Saw Iron Maiden. Saw Megadeth was there. Just Rammstein. That was the
Oh yeah.
second time I seen Rammstein. No, the first time. Saxon. If you're an old 80s new wave British heavy metal movement throwback like I am, Saxon was there, and Saxon still kicks ass. But Black Sabbath headlined Download in 2016, and I was literally 100 feet from the stage. Like, I could have thrown a water bottle and hit Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm.
Okay, that
Nice.
was the best concert I ever saw, and they were really, really tight. Ozzy sounded good, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they wrapped it when they wrapped it,
Yeah.
because I think it's good for bands to go out on high notes.
Yeah.
And Black Sabbath
Oh,
did
yeah.
that, kind of like Led Zeppelin did back at the O2 Arena in 2007. I put in for the lottery to get tickets for that. Well, guess what? El Donzo didn't get tickets for that fucking show because I'd have moved Earth to get there. And
Yeah.
that was a pretty damn good performance. And Led Zeppelin, the remaining members, wanted to keep going and do tours after that. But Robert Plant's like, nope, we're done. Leave it alone. It was, we had our heyday 40 years ago. We're done. It's over. Forget about it. I'm not going back. And I commend him for doing that. So I think that as these bands age, they need to pick a time to wrap it up. And I'm pretty confident Kiss will be done after this, especially with Paul Stanley's
Yeah,
issues.
it's time. I mean, like I said, all of my usernames and like my gamer tag and all this stuff is Cold Gin because of the Cold Gin song. And I agree. Like they had their run. I've had my fill. I can go back and I can
Yeah.
watch old videos when they actually still had it.
Yeah. When you've got
Um,
50 years of good music, I mean, that's hard to beat, but you can't go live anymore. You really shouldn't.
Yeah. But at the same time, the reason that these old people keep doing what they're doing is because there's people out there that'll keep paying to see it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just
Absolutely.
if anybody that's watching, whether it's now or later on, doesn't know who this guy to the right of the screen is, that is Ryan McKenzie. He is host of the Ryan Mack Show, and I've got the YouTube channel link on the screen. Check him out. If you like us, you'll love him. So
Yeah, I think my first guest that I had on that ever was that retired FTC judge, and I had no idea like how they reached out to me or how I plugged it. It was basically they were searching for conservative show hosts to kind of bring their book tour to, and my name
Right.
came up on some of the searches. I'm like, sweet. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. He political fiction books, and he about his time in DC was kind of how he got started writing. So it was a pretty cool interview.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just-
I don't know what I'm doing still, but it's fun.
none of us do, so don't worry about it. We just,
Yeah,
you
we're
know what?
winging
you
a
know what
prayer, man. Winging a
Yeah,
prayer.
yeah,
my
that's right.
dad, the words that I live by that my dad taught me was, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
Baffle 'em with bullshit.
Yeah, I
Fake
got a
it
lot
till
of
you
it.
make
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
what everybody else is doing. But no,
Yeah.
it's a good time, and I like it when you come on. We have people like you on the show, and we mix it up a little bit. And going live gets us the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
I like going live, but with the, and you're kind of in the same boat too.
Yep.
With getting with the radio station, it's kind of hard sometimes, especially for us to do that, and we end up having to pre-tape, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
we're behind on news also, which
Right.
kinda
Yeah, it's
pisses
a
me
little
off.
yeah.
And we can't have
That's
people
my
chime
biggest
in.
gripe with the way we do it is that, we're only on Saturdays
Right.
and, we collect the news as it happens during the week. So when we come on Saturday, we talk about a story that happened on
Right.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And we like to mix it up, but we have so many. That's the other thing too. 2 hours on a Saturday, we have so much damn news.
Mhm.
We don't even get to all of it. We don't even
Yeah.
get to probably 50% of it because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
picking and choosing. What do we want to talk about?
Right.
How much do we
Mhm.
want to beat this dead horse this week?
Right.
Even
Yeah.
though it's the biggest thing going on in the world, or people still
Yeah.
want to hear the same
Everybody
stuff.
has had their 2 cents worth, and it's kind of walking that
Right.
fine line. Do I cover it or do I not? Yeah. Yeah.
So
how can we talk about Israel and Gaza when Hall and Oates are not getting along?
I know.
That's a good,
Jeez.
that's a good point right there. And it's, you want to come up with stuff that's you want to, when people are listening, you want to relay a story and you want to have a good point to it and you want
Right.
to analyze it. But
Right.
then there's also stories that are just for shits and giggles, like the guy
Yeah.
got his drinking glass shoved up his ass and he
Yeah.
had to go to the looking for my drinking glass. And
Yeah.
decent, So we keep the funny stuff
Yeah.
going too. And
Yeah.
but no, it's fun. It's a fun ride and like I said, thank you for coming on, Ryan.
Oh, absolutely.
Check out a show, Ryan Mack, on the weekends on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Figured I might as well plug him.
Oh, I'm not on there. Yeah, I'm still
He's
doing
not on
my own
Cities
live
yet.
thing.
He's just
No.
doing the YouTube
I thought
thing.
you were back on
No,
Cities.
I'm doing live stuff, but I haven't jumped back on the radio yet.
Ooh.
I was
Oh, don't I
waiting
feel
to
like
kind
a
of see.
tit?
No, it's fine. I was wanting to get back on there, but I'm waiting to kind of let things play out a little bit on their end. So yeah,
Gotcha.
We
I
got
was
some
unaware. I thought you
behind
were
the
back up
scenes
and-
kind of things are shifting around a little bit, maybe. So
Well, you will be back on with him then, hopefully, pretty soon.
yeah,
So,
hopefully, yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
that
There's
works
going to be
out and we
some
get you back
people
on
in
there.
different chairs at some point.
Are we
so
getting
that-
fired?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, hey, it was a good run.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Go out on top.
Hey, we pay them. Well, we can't.
Yeah,
fire us.
that's what I heard. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
And
Pay
real
you to
quick,
be on the show.
real quick, even though we're not on air, still
Yeah.
want to give a shout out to the sponsor for our show, which is EnviroSeal. If it wasn't for EnviroSeal, we wouldn't be this far along right now. So regardless of whether we're on the air or not, I still want to give a shout out to them. If you have sunken concrete slabs, patios, driveways, or as you say, drive walks, they will
Mother-in-laws.
come in and use polyurethane spray foam and pump up the slabs, pump it up. They'll jack up the slabs, and they'll be ready to use the same day. They also do commercial and residential spray foam insulation. I've known the guy that runs it for years. Good friends with him since I was a kid. He'll come in, he'll knock it out, he'll do a great job for you. So if you need slabs jacked or commercial residential spray foam insulation, give EnviroSeal a call at 309-275-6303. And I wanted to get that in there and thank them for their support of the Donzo and Deez show. Now, without further ado, unless anybody wants to jump in or got anything they want to add, Any
I
more
think I'm good.
groundbreaking news in the Hall and Oates arena there, Deez?
No, I will definitely keep the fan base updated as this moves along. But right now, we just know that the lawsuit has been filed, and
All right. Thoughts
enjoy
and
the
prayers.
music while you can.
Okay, well, I'm going to be in suspense while this is going on, but
Yeah.
I want
You
to
and
thank
me both.
everybody that tuned in today, that got on here and supported us while we're doing a little trial. I hope it was somewhat entertaining for everybody. I want to thank Deez for getting my technology illiterate ass up and going on this. And once again, thank you, Ryan Mack, for getting on and
Appreciate
putting
it.
up with
absolutely.
our stupid bullshit. So I appreciate
Fine.
it.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, man.
with that said, I'm going to get out of here, guys.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you next time. We'll be back on the air next Saturday with our usual formatted show. So
Yeah, with no F.
and don't forget Ryan Mack, the Ryan Mack Show,
Yeah.
exclusively on YouTube as it sits right now. I'll go ahead and what did I do with it? There it is. Throw that link up there. You can catch him usually Sunday evenings, either live or you can watch his recordings. So
Yep.
appreciate
YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you can get your podcasts. Yeah.
absolutely.
Awesome.
We will see you all next week, folks. Have a good one.
Yep,
See you guys.
appreciate it, guys.
Bye bye.